Final leg. We're here for the first episode of This Week in Track and Field. We're going to be talking about the news, the meets that have been occurring over the past weekend and the past week all across the board in track and field. We're kicking things off with the NCAAs. This was the first weekend kicking off the 2020 indoor season for the NCAAs. A lot of schools are still on a layoff. Most schools are going to be jumping off and kicking things off in January next year. But we did see a couple performances specifically at the Boston University track. They always attract high-level distance competition for this first weekend in track and field, and this was no different. We saw a couple schools really put down some fast performances. First off, from Iowa State, we have Edwin Kurgat. He actually managed to win the 5,000 meters at BU in a personal best of 13:24.04 seconds. That moved him to number 10 all-time in the NCAA. Again, this is only the first weekend for NCAA track. He's just coming off the XC championships where he also grabbed the first place position there, so really on a high. He's really on a roll, and this is setting himself up well for the NCAA season. Moving over to the women's side, we also had a really high quality field in the 5K. First, from Arkansas, we have Taylor Werner. She's actually redshirting the indoor season, so she doesn't compete for the NCAA this season, but she managed to run a personal best of 15:11.19 seconds, which would have been the NCAA record if she was actually competing for Arkansas right now. But in second place, we had Katie Izzo, also from Arkansas. She managed to run a personal best of 15:13.09 seconds. That moved her to number 3 all-time in the NCAA. And in third place, we had Wayne Kaladi from New Mexico. She managed to run a personal best of 15:14.71 seconds, moving her to number 4 all-time in the NCAA. So this 5,000 meters, both on the women's and the men's side, was extremely high quality, way faster than the ones we saw at BU last year earlier in the season. So this is really setting up these athletes for a great NCAA season leading into 2020 next year. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit, talk about the pros. We're going to speak about Yohan Blake. This past week, he's made some interesting comments about his prospects moving into Tokyo 2020 next year and after that. I was reading a couple articles across the board, but specifically in the Outlook India article, he said, "I am already in discussions with my business partners, and after the Tokyo Games, me and my team will be in India to scout talent. If China can produce sprinters, so can India." So he's talking about he wants to be the sprint coach for the Indian national team after the 2020 Olympics next year. So his logic, I guess it kind of makes sense. If there's a huge population, then there definitely must be some sprinters out there who can really make an impact, just like we've seen a rise in sprinters from China over the past couple years. But that's not always the case. Of course, we know Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, a lot of other Caribbean countries, they have a lot of great sprinters, and most of those countries obviously don't have huge populations. But if this is what he really wants to do, I really do applaud it. A lot of athletes don't set themselves up well after their pro career has ended. So if he's setting himself up to be the sprint coach for India, I definitely applaud that. But directly relating to the 2020 Olympics, Yohan Blake, this is on a couple articles across the internet already, he specifically said, "I'm always the favorite, the second fastest man in the universe. Everyone has to look up to me." So definitely noting that he is one of the favorite. He feels confident going into the Olympics. Of course, he is number 2 in the history of the 100 meters with a 9.69 personal best. He also noted specifically though, "If you take Bolt away from the picture, I will be the fastest man in the world. I was born in the wrong time. Nevertheless, I'm happy with what I have achieved." So I was born in the wrong time. My opinion, a little bit controversial. It's easy to say that, yeah, if Usain Bolt wasn't there, then you would have been the number 1. But you got to think about it. If Usain Bolt wasn't there, a lot of people wouldn't have been running as fast as they did. Remember, 2008, after Usain Bolt broke the world record in Beijing with the 9.69, remember, Asaf Powell, right after that, he managed to run 9.72. We also saw in 2009, after Usain Bolt ran 9.58 and Tyson Gay finished second running 9.71, his personal best, he went on to Shanghai that year and ran 9.69. A lot of these guys rose to the occasion because of what they saw Usain Bolt doing. Jamaica had a real sprint sensation from a lot of guys. The Caribbean had a lot of guys coming up in the sprints. Even the United States, a lot of people came up because of what they saw Usain Bolt doing. This really happens across the board in a lot of fields, not just in sprinting. When you see someone, you want to push yourself to be as great as someone. If someone isn't running as fast, you might get complacent and feel that you're comfortable where you're at. So, it's hard to say whether or not Yohan Blake would have ran 9.69. So, just my opinion on that. Definitely keep a lookout for Yohan Blake going into the Tokyo 2020 Olympics next year. He did also note that this is going to be his last Olympics, and that's when he wants to go and start as a sprint coach for India. So, I think at 30 years old, he probably could stick around for a little bit longer, but definitely definitely his choice and a great decision if he wants to go as a coach for a country. So keep a lookout for Yohan Blake. Now to finish things off, I know this is a little bit late, happened last weekend, but Joshua Cheptegei from Uganda, he managed to run the world record on the 10K road race in 26 minutes, 38 seconds. So huge performance for him there. He's coming off really a dream season, both on the track and on the cross-country course. He managed to run and win the cross-country championships earlier in the season. Then he came back, won the Diamond League at 5K, and then also won the World Championships at 10K. So he's really had an amazing 2019 season, and at this moment, he seems to be one of the best distance runners on the track. So definitely one to look out in Tokyo 2020 next year. But also in line with the distance races, Mo Farah from Great Britain, he announced back also last weekend on the 29th of November that he's going to be going for a defense of his Olympic title in Tokyo 2020 next year in the 10K. So he's been away for just about 2 years. He switched up to the marathon, went away from the track, but he's now coming back to try and defend his title. Between 2011 and 2017, he was the most dominant distance runner in the entire world. Between that time, at every single major world championship and Olympic, he only lost 2 races at 5K or 10K. 2011 got silver in the 10K, and then 2017 he got silver in the 5K. Besides that, he got gold in every single Olympic and world championship final. So he's definitely going to be going for the gold medal in Tokyo next year. But again, I mentioned Cheptegei. Cheptegei not too far behind on personal best. He's only 2 seconds behind Mo Farah in his personal best, but Cheptegei set his personal best in Doha this year. Mo Farah has his personal best from 2011. So definitely some competition that they're going to be going for. Farah had a great career definitely at the marathon. He may go back to it, but let's see what he's going to be able to do in Tokyo next year in the 10K. All right, so that's the week in track and field. Of course, there's probably other news. Make sure you guys leave some comments below. Let me know if there's any other NCAA track meets that you guys wanted to highlight. Next week is going to be the second week in NCAA track. A lot more schools are going to be jumping on and competing, so definitely want to look out for that. And we're going to see the 2020 indoor season really kicking off in January. All right, so make sure you guys keep tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back again in the next episode. Thanks.